The white hospital ship moved slowly through space. Its name was Healing Hand, and it looked different from other ships. Big red crosses covered its sides so everyone could see it was a medical ship. Inside, Captain Linda Morris stood on the bridge watching the screens. She was 42 years old and had been flying hospital ships for 15 years. Her short brown hair was tied back, and her face showed worry lines from too many rescue missions. Below them, a small colony planet was in trouble. 2 alien races were fighting near it, and the people living there needed help. Most of them were families with children. They just wanted to leave before the fighting reached their homes. The Healing Hand had come to take them to safety. Peter Grant sat at the navigation station. He was young, only 25, and this was his first year on a hospital ship. His fingers moved quickly over the controls as he read the messages coming from the planet. "Captain, we have more people asking for help." "They sound scared," Linda nodded. She had heard fear in people's voices many times before. "How many can we take on this trip?" Dr. Helen Price answered from her medical station. She was older than Linda, with gray hair and kind eyes. She had been a doctor for 30 years. "We can fit about 200 people if we use all the medical rooms. We have enough supplies. Commander Blake already has his teams ready to help people when they arrive." The Healing Hand was special to Earth. While other planets built big warships, Earth had decided to build hospital ships instead. They went to every war and helped anyone who needed it. They didn't ask for money. They didn't take sides. They just saved lives. This was Earth's way of showing the galaxy that humans were good people. Lieutenant Greg Stone was watching the tactical screens. He was a quiet man who rarely smiled. "Captain, 3 alien warships are coming toward us. They are Kreth ships. They want us to stop our engines and let them board our ship." Linda felt her stomach tighten. The Kreth were like big insects that walked on 2 legs. They had been acting mean lately, but they had never attacked a hospital ship before. That would break all the rules. "Open a communication channel. Make sure everyone can hear us." The main screen turned on. A Kreth commander appeared. His face looked like an insect with big eyes and moving mouth parts. He didn't look friendly. Linda spoke in a calm voice even though she felt nervous. "This is Captain Linda Morris of the Earth hospital ship Healing Hand. We are here to help sick and hurt people. We have permission from the Galactic Council. We have no weapons. We are protected by medical laws." The Kreth commander's voice came through a translator. It sounded flat and cold. "You are helping our enemies. You will give us your ship or we will destroy you." Linda tried to stay calm. The people on that planet are not soldiers. They are families. They are children. "We have no weapons on this ship. We are not dangerous to you." The Kreth commander made an angry sound. "You help our enemies. That is enough reason to destroy you." The screen went black. The Kreth had ended the conversation. Linda turned to look at her crew. She could see they were all scared. She was scared too, but she had to be strong for them. "Get those people up here right now. Move as fast as you can. Stone, send an emergency message to Earth. Tell them what is happening." Greg Stone's hand shook a little as he worked. "Captain, the Kreth ships are getting ready to fire their weapons." Linda gave her orders quickly. "Put all power into our shields. Keep bringing people up from the planet. We are not leaving anyone down there." The first weapon blast hit the right side of the Healing Hand. The whole ship shook hard. Loud alarms started ringing everywhere. Linda held onto her chair to keep from falling. The ship was not built for fighting. It was built for saving lives. "Shields are now at 60% strength," Stone called out. His voice cracked with fear. "They are firing again," Linda shouted over the noise. "Keep the transporters working." "How many people are still on the planet?" Peter Grant checked his screen. 85 people are still waiting." Another blast hit the ship. The lights went dark for a moment, then came back on dim. Linda heard explosions somewhere below them in the ship. Something bad was happening down there. "Shields are breaking. We have holes in the ship on decks 4 through 7, Stone reported. He looked at the captain with wide eyes. "Captain, that's where all the medical rooms are." Dr. Price's face turned white. She stood up from her chair. "My medical teams are down there. My patients are down there." The third attack from the Kreth ships cut through the Healing Hand like it was made of paper. The shields were gone now. There was nothing to protect them. The bridge exploded with sparks and fire. Linda felt herself flying through the air as the ship started to break into pieces. She hit the wall hard and felt pain shoot through her body. Through the smoke and noise, Linda could see the hull breaking open. The cold of space was rushing in. She couldn't breathe. Her last thoughts were about Earth. She hoped someone would tell them what happened. She hoped Earth would remember them. She hoped Earth would do something about this. Around her, her crew was dying. Peter Grant, who had been so young and excited about his first mission. Greg Stone, who had tried so hard to protect them. Dr. Helen Price, who had saved so many lives. All of them were gone in seconds. Outside the breaking ship, the Kreth destroyers fired on the small escape pods that were trying to get away. They hunted down every pod and destroyed them. They wanted no survivors. They wanted no witnesses. In total, 347 people died that day. Doctors, nurses, engineers, ship crew, and the families they were trying to save. All of them murdered because they believed a hospital ship would be safe. All of them killed because they thought the laws meant something. The Healing Hand's final emergency signal went out into space, carrying the recording of everything that had happened. It would take hours to reach Earth through the relay stations. But when it arrived, everything would change. The Kreth thought they were attacking a weak target. They thought humans would do nothing. They were very, very wrong. Admiral Richard Cole stood in a room deep under Earth's military headquarters. The room had no windows and thick walls. Big screens covered the walls showing maps of space and ship positions. Around him stood the most important military leaders of Earth. Nobody was talking. They were all watching the same thing play over and over on the main screen. The recording showed the last minutes of the Healing Hand. They had watched it 3 times now. Each time made Richard feel more angry. But he kept his face calm and hard like stone. He was 63 years old and had been a soldier for 45 years. He had fought in wars on Earth before humans went to space. He had been there when humans first met aliens. He had always told people to be patient and careful with other species. But not today. Today was different. How many people died? Richard asked. His voice was quiet, but everyone heard him. General Patricia Hayes looked at her electronic tablet. She was in charge of all Earth's military ships. We counted 347 dead. Captain Morris and everyone on the bridge are gone. All the doctors and nurses are dead. The people they were trying to save are dead too. The Kreth ships shot at the escape pods. Only 12 people survived. The room stayed completely silent. No one knew what to say. Richard was known for being calm. He always had to talk first and fight last. He had made peace deals with aliens who thought humans were stupid. He had stopped wars before they started. Everyone respected him because he was smart and fair, but right now he wanted to hurt someone. "Do we know for sure this was not an accident?" asked Secretary of Defense Alan Murphy. He was the person who advised the president about military things. Could it have been a mistake or a communication problem? Commander Julie Stevens stepped forward. She worked in intelligence, which meant she gathered secret information. "Sir, we have all the communication recordings." Captain Morris told them clearly what ship she was on. She explained her mission. She asked them to recognize that she was protected by law. The Kreth commander knew exactly what he was doing. He ordered the attack on purpose. They kept shooting even after the ship was destroyed. They hunted down escape pods and killed survivors. This was murder. There is no other word for it. Richard nodded slowly. He had expected this answer, but hearing it made his anger grow hotter. What is the Galactic Council doing about this? Julie Stevens looked uncomfortable. They are writing a letter to complain. The Kreth ambassador is lying. He says the Healing Hand was carrying weapons for the Vaxil aliens. It is obviously not true, but some council members want to investigate more before doing anything. Richard made a disgusted sound. Of course they do. The Kreth controlled important trade routes through space. Many alien species made money by trading with the Kreth. No one wanted to upset them over one human hospital ship, no matter how wrong the attack was. He turned to look at all the officers in the room. These were the people who commanded Earth's military. Tell me where our ships are right now. General Hayes brought up a map of space on the screen. Little icons showed where Earth's military ships were located. We have the Carrier Group Washington about 3 jumps away from Kreth space. The Carrier Group Lincoln is doing training exercises near the neutral zone. The Carrier Enterprise is... Richard held up his hand to stop her. I don't want to know where they are now. I want to know how fast we can move them into Kreth space. Everyone in the room became very still. They understood what Richard was suggesting. Alan Murphy spoke carefully. He looked nervous. Sir, if we send military ships into their space, that means war. The Galactic Council will not support us. We will be alone. Other species might turn against us. Richard turned to look at him. His eyes were cold. The Council can go to hell. They had their chance to enforce their own laws. Now Earth will enforce them. He looked at General Hayes. I want every ship we have moved into attack positions. We are not going to invade their planets. We are not going to conquer them. But we are going to teach them a lesson. General Hayes leaned forward. What kind of lesson, sir? Richard's face showed no emotion, but his voice was hard as steel. The kind that makes it very clear what happens when you murder humans who are trying to help people. The Kreth want to know what humans do when someone attacks us. They are about to find out. We build hospital ships because we choose to be kind, not because we can't build warships. They need to learn that our mercy is a choice, not a weakness. He pressed a button on the communications panel. Get me the president on a secure line. We need authorization for a military operation. The other officers started talking quietly to each other. Some looked excited. Some looked worried. All of them understood that Earth was about to do something it had never done before. Patricia Hayes pulled Richard aside. She spoke quietly so others couldn't hear. Richard, are you sure about this? Once we start, we can't take it back. This will change everything between Earth and the rest of the galaxy. Richard looked at the frozen image on the screen. It showed Captain Linda Morris on her bridge seconds before she died. She had been doing her job. She had been saving lives. She had trusted that the laws would protect her. They murdered our people, Patricia. They killed doctors and children. They shot at escape pods, and the galaxy is going to write them a strongly worded letter. He shook his head. No, Earth has spent 30 years proving we are civilized. We have followed every rule. We have helped everyone who asked. And what did it get us? 347 body bags and a request to wait for an investigation. He turned to face her fully. I'm tired of being patient. I'm tired of being the nice ones. I'm tired of watching our people die while everyone else talks about trade routes. The Kreth are going to learn a lesson, and every other species in this galaxy is going to learn it too. Patricia nodded slowly. What do you need from me? Start moving the fleets. Quietly at first. Make it look like normal training movements. But I want overwhelming force ready to strike within 48 hours. And Patricia, he paused. No civilian targets. We are going to hurt them. But we are not going to become like them. We hit military targets only. We show them we could destroy everything they have, but we choose not to. We prove that mercy is our choice, Patricia saluted. Yes, sir. I'll start making calls. As she walked away, Richard looked back at the screen. He thought about all the hospital ships Earth had sent out into the galaxy. Ships full of good people who just wanted to help. People like Linda Morris who believed that kindness mattered. I'm sorry, Linda, he said quietly to the empty screen. You deserved better than this. But I promise you Earth will make this right. The president's face appeared on the secure communication screen. Richard took a deep breath and prepared to ask for permission to go to war. Not a war of conquest, not a war of territory, but a war to prove a simple point. Don't hurt humans, especially don't hurt the humans who are trying to help. Because if you do, the rest of the humans will remind you why our mercy is something to be grateful for. The Kreth homeworld was called Krethus Prime. It looked beautiful from space, like a golden ball floating in darkness. It had 3 moons that cast shadows on the huge cities below. The cities were so big they covered entire continents. Billions of Kreth lived there in tall buildings made of metal and glass. In the biggest building on the planet, the Imperial Palace, War Master Theknor sat in his command center. He was the leader of all Kreth military forces. His body was covered in hard shell-like armor, and his eyes were dark and mean. He moved his mouthparts in what passed for a smile among his people as he read the reports. The humans have pulled back all their hospital ships from every war zone, his assistant told him. The assistant was younger and smaller than Theknor. Their representatives at the Galactic Council are complaining, but they are not taking any military action. Theknor made a clicking sound that meant he was pleased. Just as I predicted. These humans are soft and weak. They build ships to heal instead of ships to kill. Then they wonder why no one respects them. They are fools. The Galactic Council has called for an investigation into the hospital ship incident. Theknor waved one of his arms dismissively. Let them investigate. Let them write reports and have meetings. By the time they finish talking, we will control all the border worlds. The Vaxil will be defeated. The Council can complain all they want then. We will be too powerful for them to do anything. He turned to look at the star map on his screen. What about the human fleet? Are they doing anything unusual? His assistant checked the data. Several of their carrier groups are doing training exercises near the neutral zone. It looks like normal military practice. Nothing to worry about. Keep watching them anyway. If they enter Kreth space, we will destroy them like we destroyed their hospital ship. But Theknor was wrong. The training exercises were not normal at all. Far away in space, aboard the carrier ship named Washington, Captain Paul Bennett stood in the command center. He was watching as more and more ships appeared out of hyperspace. Each ship took its position in the formation. Destroyers came first, small and fast, then frigates, bigger and heavier, then cruisers with powerful weapons. Finally, 3 more giant carriers arrived. Each one as big as the Washington commander. Lisa Morgan was Paul's second in command. She worked at the station next to him. Admiral Cole's orders are confirmed, sir. We are authorized to enter Kreth space whenever you give the command. Paul looked at the display showing all the ships. 27 warships total. This was Earth's entire rapid response force. Every ship was armed and ready for battle. It was the biggest military force Earth had assembled since humans first started fighting among themselves in space 30 years ago. Are the Kreth reacting to our presence? Paul asked. Lisa shook her head. Their border patrol is just doing regular patrols. I don't think they understand we are not doing practice exercises anymore. They think we are just playing war games. Paul activated the communication system that connected all the ships in the fleet. All ships, this is Captain Bennett. Everyone here has seen what happened to the Healing Hand. 347 good people went into space to save lives. They were murdered. Every single one of you volunteered to be part of this mission. You all know what we are about to do. He paused and looked around at his bridge crew. They were young men and women who had joined Earth's space fleet to explore new worlds, to protect human colonies and to help people in trouble. They had never expected to go to war, but now they were ready. Earth's response is going to be measured, but it will be devastating. We are not going to invade Kreth worlds. We are not going to occupy their territory, but we are going to make absolutely sure that the Kreth Empire, and every other power in this galaxy, understands one simple thing. Humanity protects its own. We protect those who heal, and anyone who hurts our people will pay a terrible price. He turned to Lisa. Set course for Kreth's prime maximum speed. Launch all our scout drones ahead of the fleet. Lisa hesitated. Sir, that course takes us directly into Kreth space. Under galactic law, that is an act of war. Paul looked at her with hard eyes. No, Commander. Firing on a hospital ship full of unarmed people was an act of war. This is just the response they earned. The Washington's huge engines came to life with a deep rumble that could be felt throughout the ship. One by one, all 27 ships of the human fleet began moving forward. They were heading straight for the Kreth home world. In the lower sections of the Washington, where civilians lived and worked, Dr. Scott Palmer was busy. He was converting cargo storage areas into emergency medical rooms. Medics and doctors from across the fleet had volunteered to help. They were preparing to treat wounded soldiers if fighting broke out. Nurse Kate Williams was helping Scott secure medical supplies to the walls. She was worried. Do you think there will be a real battle? Do you think many people will die? Scott didn't answer right away. He had served on the original Healing Hand 5 years earlier. He had trained under Dr. Helen Price, learning from her how to save lives in emergency situations. He had only been transferred to the Washington 6 months before the Healing Hand was destroyed. He had been lucky. His friends had not. I think, Scott said slowly, that the Kreth made a terrible mistake. They thought our kindness meant we were weak. They thought we would do nothing. They are about to learn how wrong they were. Kate looked scared but determined. I joined the medical service to help people, not to be part of a war. Scott put a hand on her shoulder. We are still helping people. We are helping our own. And maybe by doing this, we will save the lives of countless others who serve on hospital ships. The galaxy needs to learn that you cannot murder healers without consequences. Back on Earth, Admiral Richard Cole sat in his office watching the fleet movements on his computer screen. His hand rested on an electronic pad that contained the full battle plan. The operation had a code name. It was called Operation Hippocratic Oath, named after the ancient promise doctors made to do no harm. Richard appreciated the irony. First, do no harm. But when harm was done to those who healed, the response would be surgical, precise, and absolutely devastating. General Patricia Hayes entered his office. The fleet has crossed the neutral zone. They will reach the Kreth border in 30 minutes. Richard nodded but said nothing. He was thinking about all the decisions that had led to this moment. 30 years of peace, 30 years of following the rules, 30 years of being the good guys. And in one afternoon, 3 Kreth warships had ended all of that. "Do you have any doubts?" Patricia asked quietly. Richard looked up at her. "Every day I have doubts, but not about this. The Kreth need to learn this lesson. More importantly, every other species watching needs to learn it too. You can't kill humans without consequences, especially not humans who are trying to save lives." Patricia checked her tablet. "The Kreth still don't seem to understand what is happening. Their forces are not mobilizing." "They will," Richard said. "Soon enough they will understand. And then they will tell stories about this day for generations. Stories about what happens when you mistake human mercy for human weakness." On the bridge of the Washington, Captain Paul Bennett watched the countdown timer. In 10 minutes his ship would cross into Kreth space. In 15 minutes they would be in weapons range of Kreth military stations. In 30 minutes they would reach Krethus Prime itself. "All weapons charged and ready," reported the tactical officer. "All ships report ready status." Paul took a deep breath. He had never wanted to be part of a war. He had joined Earth's space fleet to explore and protect. But the Kreth had given him no choice. "Take us in," he ordered. "And may whoever is listening forgive us for what we are about to do." The Washington accelerated, and the fleet followed behind it like a spear aimed at the heart of the Kreth Empire. The Kreth Border Patrol Station had a designation number, Outpost 447. It was a small military base floating in space, watching for ships that might try to enter Kreth territory without permission. The commander of this station was named Crescithar. He was an experienced warrior who had fought in many battles. He sat at his station monitoring the sensor screens like he did every day. Then something appeared on his screens that made him sit up straight. 27 human warships were approaching. They were moving fast and in perfect military formation. The biggest ship in front was a massive carrier called the Washington. Crescithar immediately sent an emergency message to the homeworld. "Alert, alert! Unidentified human military vessels approaching Kreth space. I count 27 warships on direct course toward our core worlds. Requesting instructions." The response came back quickly from Krethus Prime. The message sounded dismissive and unconcerned. "Negative, Outpost 447. The humans are conducting training exercises. Maintain your position but do not take any action unless they actually cross the border. They will turn away." Cresthar watched his screens nervously. The human fleet was not slowing down at all. They were not changing course. They were heading straight for his station. "Command, they are not altering course. They are not slowing down. I strongly recommend we mobilize the home fleet immediately." "Negative. Do not engage. Stand by. They will turn away." But the humans did not turn away. At exactly 0847 hours by Earth time, the carrier Washington crossed the border into Kreth space. Behind it came all 26 other warships in the fleet. They moved in perfect formation, maintaining their speed and heading directly for Krethus Prime. Crescithar barely had time to send one final warning message before the human ships accelerated past his position. They ignored his station completely. They were not interested in small border outposts. They were heading for the heart of the Kreth Empire. On the bridge of the Washington, Captain Paul Bennett received the latest tactical information from his officers. "The Kreth home fleet is launching from Krethus Prime. We count 42 capital ships moving to intercept us. They will reach our position in approximately 90 minutes. Paul nodded. "That gives us plenty of time." "More than enough." He opened a communication channel that connected all the ships in his fleet. "All ships begin Operation Hippocratic Oath on my command. Remember our mission. We are here to send a message, not to start a war of extermination. Precision is everything. No mistakes." The Earth fleet split into 3 separate groups. Each group had a different target. The Washington led its group straight toward Krethus Prime. The carrier Lincoln took its group toward the military shipyards in a nearby star system called Kress. The carrier Enterprise positioned its group to intercept the approaching Kreth home fleet on Krethus Prime. War Master Theknor finally realized the humans were serious. He jumped up from his chair, his mouth parts moving in anger and fear. "Get our orbital defense platforms online now." "Where is the home fleet?" His assistant looked terrified. "The fleet is still 40 minutes away from here, War Master. The human ships will reach weapons range in 10 minutes. Then prepare for battle. Show these foolish humans what happens when they dare to invade Kreth space. Thecnor felt confident despite his fear. He had powerful defense stations orbiting his world. He had weapons on the ground. The humans would be destroyed. But the Washington did not fire on the planet. Instead, Captain Bennett began broadcasting a message on every communication frequency. Every Kreth on the planet could hear him. Every ship in space could hear him. The message went out across the entire sector. Attention, Kreth Empire. This is Captain Paul Bennett of the Earth Federation Fleet. 72 hours ago, your military forces attacked and completely destroyed the unarmed hospital ship Healing Hand. You murdered 347 humans and civilians who were under our protection. This attack violated every principle of the Galactic Accord. It violated the laws that are supposed to protect medical ships. On the surface of Krethus Prime, billions of Kreth citizens stopped what they were doing. They listened to the humans' words coming through their communication devices. In offices and homes and streets, they all heard the same message. Earth demanded justice through proper channels. Your government claimed our hospital ship was carrying weapons. This was a complete lie. The Galactic Council called for investigation and discussion. We are done investigating. We are done discussing. The Washington's weapon systems locked onto a target, but it was not targeting the planet's surface. It was targeting something in orbit. One of 3 massive military space stations that defended Krethus Prime. These stations were the pride of the Kreth military. Each one was heavily armed and protected. We do not make war on civilians. We do not target hospitals or homes or schools. But we will not allow the murder of our people to go unanswered. The Washington fired a single torpedo. It was carefully aimed and incredibly powerful. The torpedo struck the space station's main reactor core with perfect precision. The explosion was massive, bright enough to be seen from the planet's surface like a second sun appearing in the sky. That station was called Krell 1. Bennett's voice continued calmly. It was completely evacuated 3 hours ago after receiving an anonymous warning. 0 casualties, but your defensive shield is now broken. At the Kreth shipyards, the Lincoln's group demonstrated the same precise destruction. Their torpedoes struck the massive construction facilities where the Kreth built their warships. Dry docks exploded. Manufacturing buildings collapsed. Ore processing plants were reduced to scrap metal. But every facility had been evacuated hours before through anonymous warnings. Not a single Kreth worker died. We could destroy all your shipyards. We could crack open all your orbital defenses. We could turn this into a war that would kill billions of your people. Bennett's voice echoed across Kreth communication networks. But we will not do that. Because unlike your War Master, we understand the value of life. All life, even the lives of those who wronged us. War Master Thecnor was screaming orders at his subordinates. Fire everything we have at those human ships. Kill them all. Destroy them. But the Enterprise carrier group had positioned itself perfectly between the Kreth home fleet and the Washington's position. They launched a massive electronic warfare attack that scrambled all the Kreth targeting systems. The Kreth ships could fire their weapons, but they could not hit anything. Their shots went wild, missing by huge distances. However, Bennett's broadcast continued, his voice turning cold and hard. We will have justice. War Master Thecnor gave the order to destroy the Healing Hand. He ordered the attack on an unarmed hospital ship. He ordered his ships to hunt down and kill survivors in escape pods. Under the Galactic Accord and every law of civilized space, he is guilty of war crimes. War Master Thecnor, you are hereby charged and convicted. Surrender yourself immediately for trial, or every military asset under your command will be reduced to scrap metal. Thecnor's face twisted in rage. Never, the Kreth bow to no one. We surrender to no human. Very well, Bennett replied simply. The Washington's targeting computer locked onto the Imperial Palace's military command wing. The calculations were incredibly precise. The torpedo had to destroy the command center without harming the civilian parts of the palace. It had to kill Thecnor without killing innocent Kreth who worked in other sections of the building. The torpedo launched. It covered the distance in seconds. The explosion was surgical in its precision. The military wing of the palace simply ceased to exist. War Master Thecnor and everyone in the command center died instantly, but the rest of the palace, where civilian administrators worked, remained completely intact. The Kreth home fleet stopped advancing immediately. Without their War Master, without their targeting systems, without clear orders, the Kreth commanders did not know what to do. This is Captain Paul Bennett to all Kreth military forces. Your War Master is dead. Your military infrastructure is crippled. Your shipyards cannot build new vessels. Your orbital defenses cannot protect you. But look at your cities. Look at your homes. Look at your families. They are untouched. We have proven we could destroy everything you have, but we choose not to. We choose mercy." He paused, letting his words sink in across the Kreth Empire. "Earth seeks no territory. We seek no tribute. We demand no submission. We seek only one thing: respect for the laws that protect all sentient life. We seek justice for 347 innocent people who died trying to save lives." Another pause. "The next time any of you see a hospital ship from any world, you will remember this day. You will remember that mercy is not weakness. You will remember that kindness is a choice, not an inability. And you will remember that those who dedicate their lives to healing are protected by those who have the power to hurt." The human fleet began to turn away, starting their long journey back home. They left the Kreth Empire with their military broken but their people alive. They left a message that would echo across the galaxy for years to come. Don't hurt the healers, because if you do, humanity will teach you the difference between cannot fight and chooses not to fight. 6 months had passed since Operation Hippocratic Oath. Admiral Richard Cole now stood in the Galactic Council chamber facing formal charges. The chamber was enormous, designed to hold representatives from 47 different alien species. Every seat was filled. Everyone wanted to see what would happen to the human who had led an unauthorized military strike against a council member species. The council chamber was built like an ancient amphitheater, with curved rows of seats rising up on all sides. In the center stood a small platform where Richard waited. Above him hung the symbol of the Galactic Council, representing unity and peace among the stars. The irony was not lost on Richard. Council Chair Morven, a tall alien with blue skin and 4 arms, spoke in a deep voice that echoed through the chamber. "Admiral Richard Cole of Earth, you stand accused of conducting unauthorized military action against the Kreth Empire, a member species of this council. You destroyed military infrastructure. You killed their war master. You violated their territorial sovereignty. How do you answer these charges?" Richard looked around at all the alien faces watching him. Some looked angry. Some looked curious. Some looked afraid. He stood straight and calm, his hands clasped behind his back. "The Council asks why Earth took unilateral military action," Richard began, his voice clear and strong. "The answer is simple: because you would not." Noise erupted throughout the chamber. Representatives began talking to each other, some making sounds of anger, others of agreement. Morven raised 2 of his hands for silence. "Explain yourself, Admiral." "For 30 years, humanity has operated under Galactic Council authority. We have followed every law you created. We have respected every treaty you signed. We have contributed to galactic society not with weapons or threats, but with healers. We sent hospital ships to your wars. We asked for nothing in return. We believed the Galactic Accord meant something real." Richard activated a holographic display above his head. It showed the final moments of the healing hand. The council chamber fell silent as they watched the Kreth destroyers fire on the unarmed hospital ship. They watched escape pods being hunted and destroyed. 347 people died on that ship, Richard continued. Doctors who had saved thousands of lives. Nurses who worked 18-hour shifts caring for the wounded. Engineers who kept the ship running. Civilians, including children, who just wanted to escape a war zone. They all died because they believed a hospital ship would be protected. They died because they thought the Galactic Accord's protections were real and not just words on paper. He turned to face Morvan directly. "After the attack, Earth came to this council and asked for justice. We were told to wait for an investigation. We were told not to overreact. We watched as council members worried more about trade routes and political alliances than about mass murder. We watched you do nothing while the Kreth lied about weapons that never existed, so Earth made a decision. If the Council would not enforce its own laws, we would do it ourselves." Ambassador Vrektal of the Vaxel Confederation stood up. His species had been at war with the Kreth. "You destroyed Kreth military infrastructure worth billions. You assassinated their war master. You violated their sovereignty and made a mockery of Council authority. We eliminated the individual responsible for war crimes," Richard corrected, his voice hard. "We disabled the military assets he commanded. We did this with surgical precision to avoid civilian casualties. We could have done so much worse. We could have bombed their cities from orbit. We could have invaded their worlds. We could have turned this into a war of extinction that would have killed billions. We chose not to because, unlike the Kreth, we actually value life. He walked to the edge of the platform, looking up at the rows of alien representatives. Here is what Earth learned that day. We learned that in this galaxy, laws only protect you if someone is willing to enforce them. We learned that our kindness was being interpreted as weakness. We learned that to be respected, we had to be feared as well as liked. Council Chair Morvan leaned forward. And what now, Admiral? Will Earth continue to take unilateral military action whenever it feels justice is delayed? Will you become a rogue state that ignores Council authority? Richard shook his head. No. Earth will continue to send hospital ships to those who need medical help. We will continue to heal the wounded and help the desperate. We will continue to be the people who try to save lives rather than take them. But we will also continue to build warships. And every species in this galaxy will know that human mercy is a choice we make freely, not a weakness we suffer from. Anyone who harms those under our protection will face exactly the same response the Kreth received. He turned to look at the Kreth delegation. New leaders had replaced War Master Theknor. They sat quietly in their seats, not speaking. The new Kreth government has offered full reparations to the families of those killed. They have agreed to abide by all hospital ship protections in the future. They have submitted to Galactic Court jurisdiction for any future violations. As far as Earth is concerned, the matter with the Kreth is resolved. We have no desire for revenge beyond justice. We have no territorial claims. We want only one thing, for the laws to mean something real. Morvan looked around at the other council members. The council must still determine if your actions were legal under our charter. Richard met his eyes calmly. With all due respect, Council Chair, we do not particularly care about your determination. If protecting our people from murder is illegal, then Earth will be criminals. If defending those who heal is a violation of your rules, then we will violate those rules every single time. Earth joined this council believing in shared values and mutual protection. We still believe in those things. But we will never again rely solely on council action to protect our own people. The vote took 3 days of debate. In the end, the Galactic Council condemned Earth's actions by a narrow vote of 24 to 23. But they imposed no sanctions. They demanded no reparations. They took no action against Earth at all. The reason was simple. Too many species had quietly thanked human representatives in private. Too many had admitted their own hospital ships and medical personnel now sailed through war zones without being attacked. Too many had seen their own people protected by the precedent Earth had set. The galaxy had learned a lesson, even if the Council was too proud to admit it officially. The Kreth Empire's aggressive military expansion stopped completely. Other powers that had been considering similar actions decided against it. Everyone became remarkably careful about observing humanitarian laws and protecting medical personnel. Captain Linda Morris became a symbol throughout human space. Every ship in Earth's fleet now carried a small metal plaque with her name engraved on it, along with the names of all 347 people lost on the Healing Hand. New hospital ships were built to replace those that had been withdrawn, but now they sailed with destroyer escorts. The escorts had strict orders. Never fire first, but always fire last if anyone threatened the medical ships. Dr. Scott Palmer stood on the bridge of a brand new hospital ship. It was called Healing Hand 2, named in honor of the original vessel. He looked out at the stars through the main view screen, thinking about his friends and colleagues who had died. "We are ready to depart, Doctor," said the ship's captain, a young woman named Beth Carter. She was only 30 years old, but had impressed everyone with her skill and dedication. "Our first mission is to the Renari colony world. They have a disease outbreak and need medical assistance. What about our escort?" Scott asked. Beth smiled slightly. "2 destroyers. They are named War Master and Mercy's Blade." Scott had to smile at the irony of those names. War Master, named after the Kreth leader whose death had changed everything. Mercy's Blade, representing humanity's dual nature. Those are appropriate names. The new Healing Hand engaged its hyperspace engines and jumped toward its destination. Inside the medical bays, doctors and nurses prepared their equipment. They would heal the sick, mend the wounded, and help those in desperate need. That was their calling. That was what they had trained for. That was what made them human. But now they did so knowing something important had changed. The galaxy had learned that humanity's capacity for destruction was equal to its capacity for compassion. Those who dedicated their lives to preserving life were precious, and those who harmed them would learn a terrible lesson about the cost of such cruelty. Earth had changed the rules of galactic civilization, not through conquest or domination, but by demonstrating a simple truth. The same species capable of profound mercy was also capable of terrible vengeance. You could not have one without the other. And in that balance, humanity had finally found its place among the stars. The healing hand, too, sailed onward, protected and protecting, a testament to humanity's dual nature. Destroyer escorts flanked it on both sides, their weapon systems ready but silent. Together they represented the new reality of human space presence. We will heal you if you ask. We will protect you if you need it. We will help you without demanding payment. But if you dare to harm those among us who dedicate themselves to saving lives, you will discover why our mercy is something to be grateful for, not something to take advantage of. Across the galaxy, no one would